We're here with Carter McNamara, one of the principal consultants in a new strategic alliance called Action Learning Source. So Carter, congratulations on your new business venture.
Thank you.
I understand that the Action Learning Source is a strategic alliance with Chuck Appleby, who is another leader in the field of action learning. So tell us, what is the reason for this new alliance?
Well, Chuck and I are very excited. We came together to form the alliance, especially to provide a customizable way to do this action learning process that's so popular today. There's many models of action learning out there, and they're popular because they're good. And Chuck and I acknowledge all of these models, but we believe that if you really focus on the needs of the client, of the organizations and the people in it, you'll end up producing the model that's best for people. So our focus is really customizing this action learning process. Thank you.
So is it fair to ask, what is your model?
It is fair to ask. In fact, you're turning my answer back on us, and that's fair. Chuck and I would say that we really work from an approach. And I think I got lucky a minute ago saying that the action learning approach or model should really emerge from what you're doing with the client. But I owe you a more specific answer, and I would say we go back to the source of action learning, thus the name Action Learning Source. Reginald Revens developed action learning back in even the 1930s in the United Kingdom. And he was working with a variety of different groups, nurses to coal miners. And he was reluctant, I would even say loath, to define action learning. So he certainly would never proclaim a certain model that you have to stick to. But he would agree that action learning is groups of people who come together on a recurring basis to help each other deal with a current priority, whether it's an issue or a problem or an exciting goal. And they help each other primarily, some would say exclusively, by sharing questions. And the purpose of the questions is to get clear on what really is the priority. Are we dealing with symptoms or are we dealing with causes? And the questions are to help get clear on, well, what can we do about it? What actions that are relevant and realistic and challenging can we take? And what can we do to learn? The hallmarks of action learning are the meetings of people who are working on something current and real. It's not a case study. Largely by asking questions, but the people have to do something. So it's not therapy, it's not discussion groups, dialogues. They have to do something, but there's always equal focus on learning. That would be our approach. If Chuck and I saw some activity that resembled that, we'd call it action learning. But there's variations of that. For example, some models might say you've always got to have an external facilitator who's a professional at that, which is ironic because Reginald Revens would say that's not action learning necessarily, and he would say you should not package action learning. He was a very strident man. Another variation is some people would say you always ask questions. And I've done action learning with Inuits in Alaska who would think that was playing a poor game of Jeopardy. Some people would say you don't always work on a problem. Gen X, Gen Y would say you work on a priority. Some people would also say that you can't do action learning if they all work for the same boss. Well, actually, I've had great success at that. So if we have a model, I would say it's more of an approach, and it evolves from always working with the client on what is it that they want to get done.
What services do you offer?
I like to think in three areas. The first is a series of workshops we have that we're really excited about. The first workshop is an introduction to action learning, and there are other providers who have the workshops. We try to focus especially on how can action learning be customized? How does action learning occur in the broader context of an organization like a program? So, and from that, people can take part in an action learning facilitation workshop, which is how to facilitate a variety of models. And again, you're facilitating within the larger organization, you're facilitating within a program. There are always people around the action learning process, and facilitators need to know that. If they want to go even farther, there's an advanced facilitation workshop, which helps you to facilitate in your own style. We talk about more pitfalls that can occur in facilitation. We even touch a bit on how can you do it over the internet. In fact, that's another workshop. We teach people how to virtually facilitate. Chuck has even developed a customized platform with templates that you can virtually facilitate. The workshops I'm excited about are how you can design a program. Another one is how you can manage a program, because that's the world our clients live in. They design and they manage programs. It isn't just facilitating. And if you want to do a program tomorrow, we've got a boot camp where we can move you through 5 days of training so you can go through all of the key points of those workshops. That's one of the 3 areas. We also have applications that I think are rather unique. Action learning tends to talk about using action learning for leadership, for solving problems, for building teams. We've actually got other applications, some of which aren't even in the books yet. Books are starting to talk about using action learning for coaching, spreading coaching skills. I've been doing that for probably 15 years. Another, though, is networking. Some action learners would say, what, networking? We're working with a company right now, we've got 60 groups. And the most popular outcome, what the client likes the most, is deep networking. You know, there's a myth that if you get a bunch of people in a room, something magical will happen. And that doesn't happen. Instead, they need a structure like the structure of action learning. Another application, in fact, if you think about courses you've gone to, webinars, podcasts, you come out with all this great knowledge in your head, but you tend to not actually do anything with it. So action learning can be coupled with traditional forms of training to where people are actually accountable to do something with what they learned. I'm going to add another application too. I'm going to call it engaging employees. And the best way to explain is if you think of plans that you've developed, business plans, strategic plans, they tend to be stacks of paper on a shelf. People don't actually do anything. Action learning holds you accountable to pick up the plan and actually do something and learn at the same time. So that's the second of the 3, I would say. So there are workshops, there are these applications. The third is the services. We facilitate groups whether we've designed them or not. We have extensive experience mentoring other facilitators and program designers. So facilitating, mentoring, I'm excited because we can even evaluate programs that other people have developed, which is actually what you want. You want an evaluator to not be biased with what it is you want. He should be objective, coming from the outside and looking in. So we facilitate, we mentor, we design, and we evaluate programs. So in summary, we have workshops, the trainings that we do, we have different applications, and we have a variety of services. Thank you.
Well, what are some of the other strengths of Action Learning Source?
Oh gosh, there's so many. The first that comes to mind, actually, I would say, is the practicality of what we do. We action learners tend to get really excited about theories and models and values and paradigms, and meanwhile our clients just want to get something done. Action learning to them is a tool. And I really appreciate with Chuck, we're always asking, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it, and why? We need to always think about what do our clients want. We both worked in corporate America. We both know that you need to see this as a tool to get something done. So practicality jumps out.
Are there other strengths or features of the Alliance that you want to mention?
Oh gosh. Well, another is we understand the context within which action learning occurs. It occurs within a program, within an organization. The success of action learning occurs before the people even go in the room, and we understand that. We've designed programs, we've managed programs. We're managing about 50 right now. Another is we understand the virtual technologies that people use in action learning. I've worked with a client for almost 5 years in a variety of technologies, and I mentioned Chuck has even got a platform that he's helped to develop. We can roll out one group, we can roll out 50. We've also got almost 200 varieties of tools that we can apply and adapt, and our learners can even do with us. So there's lots of advantages. I would say those are probably the most important. The way we stand out, though, is we work from the client, and action learning is there to serve the client rather than the other way around.
Well, thank you, Carter. This has been very informative, even to a novice like me. So where can people get more information about Action Learning Source?
Come to our website, actionlearningsource.com. Learn more about us, about action learning, why it should be customized, our services, our applications, our workshops. You can learn more about the resources around action learning, its history. So yes, the web source is rich, actionlearningsource.com.
Thank you, Carter.
Thank you, Andy.